Hi, this is a demo beyond vibe coding and looking at clean code practices that you can apply in code assistants like Cursor with languages like Python. So in the first place, to understand, why do vibe coders struggle to understand their own code? Certainly recommend that regardless of how you're programming, whether that is in traditional ways or in using code assistants like Cursor, which is the demo that we'll be providing, that you are reading that code closely after it's been generated. And the reason why is that, traditionally readability actually matters a lot. And so making sure that you'll be able to understand that future code, your future self will be able to understand that future code is actually very important. Traditionally, they've done surveys on this that for every person hour spent developing code, the organization has often spent 4 hours reading it later. And so we're not even talking about refactoring existing code. We're talking about simply being able to read it and work with it. And so, with vibe coding, the more code that we have, the more code that there is to read. And so software engineering traditional practices come in to help us here with things like clean code. And we do have formatting tools like Python Black, which we'll be demoing today, that can really help us a lot. Certainly, there are entire books and maybe even bookshelves about clean code. But one of the most important things I think I can say in such a short video is that consistency is really important. So clean code helps us because if a block of code looks a certain way in one program, it should probably end up looking very similarly in other programs, so especially the structure of it. And so we'll go ahead and take a look at a demo now, and we'll have a cursor here. I'll move myself a little bit out of the way for the chat, and I'm going to grab some prompts. I don't plan on sharing these prompts because it's not really that kind of a demo. But we're just trying to build up and create something that's kind of a little bit messy at first, and then try to improve on it as much as we can. And so I need to kind of read this a little bit. It did some funny things the first time that I ran through this. And so I will need to pay a little bit of attention to this. And so it's, doing the basic setup of the files. We do see some files coming in here right now. And we're going to go ahead and I'll let it do what it wants to do now. Looks like it's going to need to activate a slightly different way. Still doesn't seem to see what I've provided to it. Give one more chance here. Now it looks like it's doing some things that it could be doing. And now we'll go ahead and also activate so I can run the Python block as well. All right, so let's see if we can get it to do a commit. Be very explicit about what I want here. And so it looks like it's got some files in here for me now. And so in the first place, yeah, I'll let it finish up what it wants to do. And then I want to try to run black to see exactly how it will behave manually. All right. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we'll move into, we should be in the right location. Sorry. Yeah, we should be in the right location. So what I'll do is I already have this library installed. And so it's actually done a modification to the file. And so we'll just take a quick peek and we'll see that it did do a little bit of cleanup here. We'll try to stay in this view as we're going forward here. So Python Black is coming in to actually just do some basic reformatting here. So I'm going to go ahead and send another prompt in to the chat here, and then I'll run based on whatever it gets up to. We'll go ahead and run Black again manually and see how it modifies that after Cursor's done its thing. And it really wants to work with that index file. Here I am just looking for it to do things in Python. And now it's going to update the Flask app. Pretty soon it's probably going to get around asking me if I want to do what it wants to do. And so we'll go ahead and so it says that it reformatted the file again, and we can see, changes that are being applied. And so we'll go ahead and we'll have it commit. so we can see updates in the working tree. So we go forward and we'll have it run that. I'll go and grab the next change here I'd like it to make. And, again, just kind of passing along whatever just to have it go and do things that we have to clean up from a clean codes perspective. It's thinking. Looks like it's got some changes in mind, which is good. First, we're running a little bit slowly today, I would say. This is not necessarily my go-to, even when I am using code assistance, but let it really do a thorough look at those HTML files and see what we get out of it. All right, so now it's gone ahead and made those modifications. And we'll do, just to make sure that I know where we're at. Yeah, I went ahead and did a commit. And so we'll go ahead and actually run black again. And we do see that it's making changes between what it had. And a lot of it is just kind of spacing and line breaks and things like that. But, it can get into some bigger changes as well, again, to help this readability over time. So we'll go ahead and run another command now, and I'm going to actually tell it that I'm running and using black in these cases and see how it works. So just trying to get some type of sorting into it. So it is making modification from what it had before, and keeps wanting to work with the virtual environment, and told it that it already has black installed, but it still is going off and doing something for itself. So that's funny. It's kind of where we are with these days. And so this time we should see when we actually run this again, again, the get status is here. Everything's been done. When we run black, one file left unchanged because cursor did, even though it interpreted somehow that it still needed to do, it looks like an install of the library. It did correctly get the change done. And so here we'll just go ahead and use this last prompt to just kind of see whether or not, in this case, it'll recognize that it should do the work with the Python block library again. As we send that in. So it's thinking really hard about the latest prompt and what we're asking it to do. Looks like it's got some ideas now of what it wants to change. And the main thing that I'm looking at here, I'm not reading this very closely, but I'm going to be looking to make sure that it has actually applied the reformat that we'd like. And yeah, indeed, it is actually running black here and cleaning that up. And so now we're actually seeing the changes here. And so just because I like to do the little double check. And once again, one file left unchanged. So that's about it. So building on the last video that we did around TDD, test-driven development, this is another kind of go-to that if you just include it in however you're prompting and whatever you're looking for, you'll get probably a lot more velocity, especially as I was saying earlier, your future self will really thank you because your code will be more readable and therefore more maintainable if you're doing anything around clean code such as this. Thanks for watching.